Okay, hello students. So my part is climatology and oceanography. So first we will discuss something important about the climatology. First we will cover climatology. After that we will go for the oceanography, because many concepts of the climatology are going to use in the oceanography. So when we talk or when we tell the term climatology, the first thing came into our mind is that our atmosphere. So similarly, when we talk about the atmosphere, the first thing came into our mind is the air. So and we are adequated or we are habituated to the air to so much amount that we can travel for a distance of 1000 or more than 1000 kilometers horizontally, but if we will go up to 8 kilometers of the elevation from the earth's surface, then we will feel suffocated. This show the importance of air for the human being as well as for the animals. Similarly, the most simple and important part of the or important aspect of the air is the we breathe air. Believe me, without our atmosphere is composed of air. So without our atmosphere there would be no river, no ocean, neither any lakes. Similarly, the beauty of red sunset as well as red sunrise is also would be also not possible if there would be no atmosphere. So this is the importance of our atmosphere. Similarly, also you will see in these classes as well as our subsequent classes due to our atmosphere only we experience a very pleasant temperature near the earth's surface. So in this regard, if we will come to the definition of the atmosphere, what is the definition of atmosphere, what actually it tells, then the definition of our atmosphere is the atmosphere is a delicate life-giving blanket of air. That means our atmosphere is completely composed of air that surrounds the fragile earth due to force of gravity. Please remember this term, due to force of gravity is important, because if there would be no gravity, suppose one morning you will wake up and you have seen that, you will realize that the gravity field or the gravity value of our earth is completely zero, the gravity field totally disappears. That means as the gravity has been disappeared, so gravity value becomes zero, then we will also lose our atmosphere. That means without gravity field of the earth, the atmosphere will also not be with us, or it will be, or we will lose our atmosphere. So this term gravity or the presence of gravity is very much important for the existence of our atmosphere. Now, first positive thing or the first advantage thing that we experience due to presence of our atmosphere is the average temperature of the earth at its surface is 15 degree. Please remember, many times this question came in the NET exam, what is the average temperature of earth at its surface? The answer is the average temperature of the earth at its surface is 15 degrees Celsius only, although in the tropical desert region we experience a temperature of 50 degrees Celsius. Similarly, in the frigid Antarctic area or in the South Pole region, the temperature may go below to minus 85 degrees Celsius. That means although there occurs a wide range of temperature in our earth, but the average temperature, or on an average, the temperature of earth at its surface is only 15 degrees Celsius. Now, if there would be no atmosphere or without atmosphere, the average temperature would be minus 18 degrees Celsius. So, this is the positive thing, or this is the advantage of our atmosphere, if there would be no atmosphere, then the average temperature of the earth would be minus 18 degrees Celsius. And as we all know, at that at temperature of minus 18 degrees Celsius, there would not be any life possible in our earth. That means this temperature difference of 33 degrees Celsius ki without atmosphere, if there would be no atmosphere, then the average temperature of the earth would be here minus 18 degrees Celsius, but due to presence of atmosphere the average temperature is 15 degrees Celsius. So this 33 degrees Celsius of temperature difference is only because of the atmosphere. Okay, now another thing, the 99% of the atmosphere lies within the 30 kilometer of the earth's surface. So the maximum part, or we can or you can tell ki the complete part of the atmosphere, that is your 99% of the earth's atmosphere lies within the 30 kilometer elevation from the earth's surface. Why? As I have already told, it is only due to the gravity. Now you just look into this figure. This blue part corresponds to our atmosphere. Now you may think, or some of you may know ki why the color of our atmosphere is blue. In our subsequent classes we will deal with that, ki why the color of our atmosphere is blue. Okay, now if we will come to the composition of our atmosphere, as you all know, in our atmosphere there occurs 78% of the nitrogen as well as approximately 21% of the oxygen. Apart from nitrogen and oxygen, we have argon, xenon, neon, hydrogen, helium, krypton as well as carbon dioxide. Many times in the NET exam in part B of section B, this question comes ki arrange the following atmospheric components in increasing order or in decreasing order, and in that question you will not get nitrogen and oxygen. Only between these gases you have to choose the correct option according to the descending order or the ascending order. Okay, now I have told ki the average percentage of the nitrogen in our atmosphere is 78%. Similarly, that of your oxygen is approximately 21%. And this composition, 78% of the nitrogen and approximately 21% of the oxygen, this composition of this ratio 78:21 of nitrogen and oxygen is same, or it is maintained up to a elevation of 50 kilometer. That means from the earth surface up to an elevation of 50 kilometer, from the earth surface up to an elevation of 50 kilometer, the average composition of the earth's atmosphere is relatively same or relatively similar. That is your nitrogen and oxygen ratio of 78:21. Now another important thing, there is no definite upper limit of the atmosphere. That means there is no upper boundary of the atmosphere. Instead, gradually the atmosphere becomes thinner and finally it is merged into our space. Okay, now I have told ki the average percentage of nitrogen in our atmosphere is 78% and oxygen is of your approximately 21%. Now an important thing is that ki this all the atmospheric gases are in equilibrium. That means in our atmosphere all the gases are in equilibrium. So what is equilibrium? Ki the amount added to the atmosphere is equal to amount removed from the atmosphere. removed from the atmosphere. That means the amount of oxygen, so for an example, the amount of oxygen that is being added to our atmosphere by various processes is equal to the amount of oxygen that is being removed from our atmosphere. So as our input amount and output amount, as our input amount and output amount are same for a particular gas in our atmosphere, so this percentage, suppose as I am telling for the oxygen, that is approximately 21%. So as the amount of oxygen that is being added to the atmosphere is equal to the amount of the oxygen that is being removed from the atmosphere, so this composition or this percentage is constantly maintained in our atmosphere. So I think you have understood that the amount of all the gases that is being added to the atmosphere is equal to the amount of gases that is being removed from the atmosphere. That means the input amount of the gases is equal to the output amount of the gases. So there maintains an equilibrium between the percentage of different atmospheric gases. Okay, now we'll see what are the different processes, which add and which remove our atmospheric gases. First if we will come for the nitrogen, then nitrogen is being added to the atmosphere by decay of organisms and plants. So nitrogen is being added to the atmosphere by decay of organisms as well as plants. Similarly, suppose this is your input process. This is the input process of nitrogen to our atmosphere. Similarly, the output process of the nitrogen from our atmosphere is by denitrifying bacteria. So as you all know, there exists some typical type of bacteria that are called denitrifying bacteria. What denitrifying bacteria does, they uptake the atmospheric nitrogen and fix in their bodies. Okay, so through the fixing of nitrogen by the denitrifying bacteria, the nitrogen being removed from the atmosphere. That means this is the output process. That is your output process. So this is the input as well as output process for your nitrogen. Now if we will come to oxygen, just wait. If we will come to your oxygen, then the output, first we will come to the output process, or the process which removes the oxygen from our atmosphere. Then as you all know, the first process that removes oxygen from our atmosphere is breathing. We all absorb or we all take oxygen during our breathing process. So this is the first process through which oxygen is removed from our atmosphere. Similarly, second one is your decay of organism. So by the decay process of organisms, oxygen also removed from the atmosphere. Third is your formation of oxide. So these three are the major processes which help in removing the oxygen from our atmosphere. That means through this process, through these three processes, oxygen is being removed from our atmosphere. Similarly, if we will come to the process through which the oxygen is being added to the atmosphere, then the only process is your photosynthesis. photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is the only process. Photosynthesis is the only process through which oxygen is being added to the atmosphere. Okay. Now after nitrogen and oxygen, if we look into this figure, then I think you have noticed ki I have missed one important gases, that is your water vapor. Okay, so in this figure the water vapor is mixed. So why water vapor is mixed? Because the percentage of the water vapor in our atmosphere is not constant. Please remember this, कि the percentage of the amount of water vapor in our atmosphere is not constant. It ranges from 1 to 4% depending on the latitude as well as longitude as well as the different places. Okay, now how, if we will go to the tropical ocean, part, then at tropical ocean the concentration of the water vapor is your maximum. At the tropical ocean the concentration of the water vapor is maximum. Similarly, in the polar region the concentration of water vapor is minimum. We will see in our subsequent classes कि why there occurs a maximum percentage of water vapor in tropical area and why there occurs minimum percentage of the water vapor in the polar area. So the percentage of the water vapor is not constant in our atmosphere everywhere. Again, as you all know कि water vapor is an invisible gas. It only becomes visible when it's changed its state from gaseous to liquid and your solid. Okay, that means only by the condensation, deposition and freezing. Only when water vapor undergoes these three processes, condensation or deposition or freezing, then only we can see the water vapor. Otherwise, this water in the gaseous state is an invisible gases. Now regarding this, one important thing is that water is the only substance that exist in all the three states at a temperature and pressure found near Earth's surface. Okay, so water is the only substance in our earth as well as in the atmosphere that exists in all the three states, both gaseous, liquid and solid state at a temperature and pressure found near the Earth's surface. So this is a very interesting concept or interesting thing about the water. Okay, now apart from this, water release latent heat when it undergoes phase change from your liquid to gaseous or your solid to liquid. When water undergoes state change either from liquid to gases or from solid to liquid, it releases the latent heat. In next class we will look into what latent heat is. Okay, and this latent heat drives your hurricane, thunderstorm. So So it is the latent heat of water only. It is the latent heat of water only that drives hurricanes as well as thunderstorm. Not only this, due to this latent heat, the average temperature in the polar region is also somewhat higher. So this is the positive things, or this is the usefulness of the latent heat. Not only this, our water vapor is also a greenhouse gas. Greenhouse gas means water vapor does not allow the outgoing infrared radiation from the earth to lost into the space. Okay, again I am telling कि water vapor is an important greenhouse gas in that कि it does not allow the outgoing infrared radiation to lost into the space, so that the average temperature of the lower atmosphere is relatively higher. Okay, so this is about your water vapor. Now we will come to another important gas, that is your carbon dioxide. I think nowadays there are lots of news about the carbon dioxide. Now if we will come to the percentage of the what is the amount of carbon dioxide that is present in our atmosphere, then that is your 0.0367% or 367 ppm. Okay, so the percentage of the amount of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere is only 367 ppm. Although this amount looks very small or very minimum, but the slightest increase in the carbon dioxide is a topic of major concern. Okay, during 1958 or in 1958, the concentration of the carbon dioxide in our atmosphere was measured first, and after that, since 1958, the amount of carbon dioxide has been increased by a factor of 15%, or the since 1958 when it was first measured, the percentage of the carbon dioxide has been increased by 15%. And if we will talk about this, then it will be something here 0.4% per year. So this is the rate of increase. This is the rate of increase of the carbon dioxide in our atmosphere. Now if we will come to the process, through which the carbon dioxide is being added to the atmosphere as well as removed from the atmosphere, then if we will come to first key, what are the different processes that add the carbon dioxide in our atmosphere? First is your deforestation, burning of fossil fuels, then your just wait, volcanic eruption, finally exhalation from animals. Okay, so these are the four processes through which carbon dioxide is being added to the atmosphere. Similarly, photosynthesis is the only process that removes the carbon dioxide from our atmosphere. Now another interesting thing is that the 99% of the carbon dioxide in atmosphere and ocean system, 99% of the carbon dioxide in ocean atmospheric system has been locked, or it is being deposited in the ocean. That means the content of carbon dioxide is approximately 99% more, or 99 times more than that in the atmosphere. Or although if we'll go, sorry, just wait. Yes, the ocean holds 50 times more carbon dioxide in comparison to the atmosphere. Sorry, previously I have told it is 99 times, but it is not like that. The ocean holds 50 times more carbon dioxide in it in comparison to our atmosphere. And in ocean 99% of the carbon dioxide of our earth and ocean and atmospheric system has been preserved. Okay, so most of the carbon dioxide, or most of the atmospheric carbon dioxide has been removed by our ocean. So how carbon dioxide is being removed from the ocean? Okay, by means of microfossils. What microfossils do? Microfossils uptake this carbon dioxide, and in association with the dissolved calcium they precipitate calcium carbonate. So by this process of formation of calcium carbonate, ocean contains 99% of the carbon dioxide in our ocean atmospheric system, and which is 50 times more than that of the air atmosphere. Okay, now I have told you there are various processes that add carbon dioxide to our atmosphere. Out of this deforestation process accounts for 20% of the emission of carbon dioxide. So this is the major process, or the deforestation process leads the global carbon dioxide emission. Okay, and now previously I have told the rate of increase of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere is 0.4% per year. Now the mathematical model predicts that if this rate of increase of carbon dioxide continues, or if the carbon dioxide continues to increase at a rate of 0.4% per year, then it will result in a increase of temperature by 1 degree to 3.5 degree by the year 2100. Okay, so if this rate of emission of carbon dioxide continues, then by the end of 2100, by the end of year 2100, the average temperature of the earth would increase by 1 degree to 3.5 degree Celsius. Now another very interesting thing is that the analysis of ice cores air bubble from the Antarctica reveals that by the year 1800, or during the year 1800, during the year 1800, the concentration of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere was only 280 ppm. Again I am telling, the analysis of air bubbles from the Antarctic ice core reveals that during the year 1800 the average concentration of carbon dioxide in our atmosphere was 280 ppm. But just think by the year 2000 it becomes 367 ppm. That means within only 200 years the amount of carbon dioxide increases for 25%. Okay, previously I have told कि your water vapor is an important greenhouse gas. Not only water vapor, our carbon dioxide is also a greenhouse gases. Ki just like our water vapor, carbon dioxide also traps some of the Earth's outgoing infrared radiation, thereby warming the lower atmosphere. Now, apart from water vapor and carbon dioxide, we have methane, we have nitrous oxide, and we have chlorofluorocarbon that are also important greenhouse gases. First we will look how methane helps in increasing the temperature, what are the different processes that governs the input and output of the methane in our atmosphere. Although the concentration of methane is very low in our atmosphere, but it plays an important role in the global greenhouse gases effect. Okay, now the rate of increase of the methane is 0.5% per year. Okay, although this rate of increase is very low in comparison to carbon dioxide as well as your percentage of water vapor, but these small amounts also contribute a great, or there could be a huge contribution to the global increase in temperature. Now the process through which methane enters into the atmosphere is your decay of plant animals by certain microbes. Okay, so this is the major process through which methane enters into our atmosphere. Now after methane we have your nitrous oxide. Okay, the rate of increase of nitrous oxide is 0.25% per year, and the nitrous oxide normally enters into the atmosphere by chemical reaction between some bacteria and microbes. Now the nitrous oxide has another important effect, कि it destroys the ozone layer in our earth. Now if we will come to the CFC or the chlorofluorocarbon, then the chlorofluorocarbon or the use of chlorofluorocarbon is normally as a cooling agent, as a propellant. Now this chlorofluorocarbon, when this chlorofluorocarbon comes in direct contact with ultraviolet ray, then it releases one chlorine atom, and this chlorine atom destroys the ozone molecule. That means this nitrous oxide as well as chlorofluorocarbon has another effect of destroying our ozone layer. Okay, now we have another atmospheric component, that is your ozone, having a percentage of 0.002% by volume. Although this amount seems to be very less, or if there occurs only 0.002% of the ozone, but this small amounts shields us from the harmful ultraviolet radiation of the earth. Now this ozone has both positive impact as well as negative impact on the human. First, if we look into the negative impact of ozone. Okay, I think it seems to be confusing for you, because you may think what is the negative impact of ozone. The negative impact of the ozone is only available, or the ozone has a very negative impact when it present in the troposphere. When ozone is present in the troposphere, it can create a harm, or it can create a harmful situation to the human as well as plants by forming photochemical smog. Photochemical smog. And this photochemical smog which is formed by the presence of ozone in the troposphere, it causes a irritation in the eye, throat. Also it can damage the plant materials. Now the positive impact is it shields us from the harmful ultraviolet rays of the sun. Okay, now we have both natural as well as man-made impurities in the atmosphere. Next come is your impurities in atmosphere. What are the natural impurities? कि volcanic ash, dust as well as sea salt. Okay, so these are the natural impurities that are present in the atmosphere. Similarly the man-made impurities are carbon oxide or very small minute particles. So these impurities, whether it is man-made or it is natural, they are collectively called aerosols. So just wait, I think aerosols. So these impurities in the atmosphere, whether it is man-made or natural, collectively they are called your aerosols. Okay, now these aerosols have both positive and negative impact. Some aerosols are excellent cloud condensation nuclei. That means they allow water vapor to condense upon them. But most of the impurities or most of the aerosols have negative impact, and the aerosols that have negative impact on the human are called your pollutants. Okay, now we have last and final components of the atmosphere, that is your sulfur dioxide. And sulfur dioxide enters into the atmosphere by burning of sulfur containing fossil fuels. Okay, and this sulfur dioxide when combines with the rain or the precipitation, it produces acid rain. Okay, so this is all about your atmospheric composition or the composition of the atmosphere, and how they are added as well as removed from the atmosphere. You can see कि at the surface there is a balance between production and destruction of these atmospheric gases, or input as well as output of these gases. Nitrogen is returned to the atmosphere mainly through the decaying of plant and animals, and it is removed primarily by the denitrifying bacteria. Oxygen is added to the atmosphere by photosynthesis process, and it is removed by the organic matter decay, oxide formation, as well as by the breathing processes. Water vapor concentration varies from place to place and time to time. Now, water is the only substance that exists in all the three states at a temperature and pressure found near the Earth's surface. Water vapor releases large amount of latent heat when goes state change. It is also a potential greenhouse gases. Carbon dioxide enters into the atmosphere by vegetation decay, volcanic eruption, deforestation and burning of fossil fuels. Carbon dioxide removes from the atmosphere by your photosynthesis processes. Ocean is the huge reservoir of the carbon dioxide, as the phytoplankton, that are microfossil, fix the carbon dioxide in their tissues. 99% of the carbon dioxide of the earth is stored in ocean as your calcium carbonate. Now presently the concentration of the carbon dioxide is increasing at a rate of 0.4% per year. Like water vapor, carbon dioxide is also a greenhouse gases. With current rate of increasing carbon dioxide, the temperature of the earth has been estimated to be risen by 1 degree Celsius to 3.5 degree Celsius by the year of 2100. Other greenhouse gases includes methane, chlorofluorocarbon as well as nitrous oxide. Methane enters into the atmosphere from breakdown of plant materials by certain bacteria in rice paddies, oxygen poor soil, biological activities of termites and biochemical reactions in the stomach of cow. Similarly, the nitrous oxide forms in the soil through a chemical process involving bacteria and certain microbes. Chlorofluorocarbon, that is generally used in the refrigerator, cleaning solvent, is also an important greenhouse gases. Also, it destroys the ozone in the stratosphere. Ozone, an important ingredient of photochemical smog, shield the earth from the harmful UV rays. That means this is the negative impact of ozone and this is the positive impact of ozone on the human or on the life of the earth. Impurities from both natural and human sources present in the atmosphere are called the aerosols. Aerosols works as a condensation nuclei. Sulfur dioxide resulted from the burning of the fossil fuel produces your acid rain. Now we'll come to our yearly atmosphere.